Hi everyone, and welcome to Adding Fractions with Teacher Bob. And today we're going to be looking at how to add fractions that are mixed and improper. If I was to ask you to add the following mixed numbers, 2 and 3/5 plus 3 and 6/10. The way I would suggest that you do it is by changing these mixed numbers. A mixed number is simply a number that is a mix of a fraction and a whole number. For example, 2 and 3/5. And we're going to change our mixed numbers into improper fractions. Makes it a little easier to deal with. An improper fraction is just a fraction that the top, which is the numerator, is larger than the denominator. In this case, our denominator right here tells us how many pieces each whole is divided into. And in this case, we have 5 pieces per whole. How many wholes do we have? We have 2. This is the whole number that is before our fraction here. So how many pieces do we have altogether? We have 2 wholes with 5 pieces in each whole, plus we have 3 extra, which is our numerator on top. So 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. So in our mixed number above, we have 13 pieces, and each piece is a fifth. So that's simply how we change a mixed number into an improper fraction. So let's do that again with our second mixed number, 3 and 6/10. We have 3 wholes with 10 pieces each, and we have 6 extra on top of that. So 3 times 10 is 30, plus 6 is 36 for our second fraction. The denominator stays the same because these are tenths. When we add fractions, we want our denominators to be the same. After all, this first fraction is a fifth, has fifths, and these have tenths. We want the denominators to be the same, or we call those common denominators, meaning the same, so that we can add them. So there's 2 different ways that we can do this in this example. We have a 5 on the bottom and a 10 on the bottom, and we can make the 5 into a 10 by multiplying it by 2. Now, when we manipulate a fraction, when we want to change a denominator, for example, we can only multiply or divide. If we add or subtract, we will change the proportion between our numerator and our denominator, and we'll get an entirely different fraction. It won't mean the same fraction. What we're looking for here are equivalent fractions. 1/2 is the same as 2/4. 1 out of 2 is the same as 2 out of 4. Examples like that. Also, our numbers on the top and the bottom of a fraction are, I like to describe them as very jealous. They have to be treated the same way, exactly. And if we don't, again, we don't get that proportion happening. If we raise the bottom by 2, we have to raise the top by 2. And what I mean by that is timesing by 2. So 13 times 2. Let's rewrite this question now so that we have 10s on the bottom of both of our equations. So the first fraction will be 36, because 26 over 10. 13 times 2 is 26, and 5 times 2 is 10. And we will add our second fraction, 36 out of 10, or 36/10. Okay, when we add our fractions, we simply add the tops, and the bottoms, which are the denominators, stay the same, because this tells us how many pieces each whole is divided into. So 26 plus 36 is equal to 66. Now, this is an example of an improper fraction, 66 tenths. It's equal to more than 1. Each whole, as we can see on the bottom, is divided into 10 pieces. If we want to convert this to a mixed number, which we usually should, we don't like to leave our answers as improper fractions. We want to know how many groups of 10 are in 66, because each group of 10 is equal to one whole. Each whole has been divided into 10 pieces. This again is what the bottom or the denominator tells us. The top or the numerator tells us how many pieces we have. So a little bit of quick division here. 10 goes into 66 6 times, and we have 6 remaining, and those pieces remaining are tenths. The bottom stays the same. When we have an answer, we should always reduce or simplify our answer. What I mean by that is that our fractions should be made with the smallest numbers possible. And as we know from over here, the only operations that we can do with a fraction on the top and the bottom to keep things proportional is multiply or divide. In this case, we want smaller numbers. So what's the largest number that we can divide into the top and the bottom? Well, it appears to be 2. So we'll divide the top and the bottom by 2. Our 6 remains the same. That's our whole. So we have 6 and 3/5. So everyone, that's how we added our two mixed numbers up here at the top. There are many instances where you may have two fractions that you're going to add, and you just cannot make one denominator into another. For example, if we had 1/4 plus 2/5, we cannot make the 4 into a 5 or the 5 into a 4. And in these situations where we need to change both denominators into a common multiple, and that's what these numbers can divide evenly into, I suggest that we multiply by the other denominator. So what are we going to multiply the 4 by? We're going to multiply it by the value of the other denominator. So 4 times 5. If we times the bottom by 5, we have to times the top by 5. We have to do the same to the top and the bottom. I cannot stress that enough. Over here, to this denominator of 5 in the second fraction, let's take a look at the other denominator. It's a 4. So we'll times this by 4, and we also times the top by 4. Let's rewrite our fractions below. 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Plus our second fraction on the top, 2 times 4 is 8. And 5 times 4 is again 20. Add the tops. 5 plus 8 is 13. The bottoms remain the same. 20. Our answer is 13/20. Okay, I hope that helps you with adding improper and improper fractions and mixed numbers. And I'll say goodbye until the next video. And please click on that subscribe button to help this channel out. And I really appreciate it if you'll do that. Thanks, and have a great day.